I want to start this video off by celebrating something important that's a little unrelated to the overall topic of the video, but one that calls for celebration. So let's pump our fists and wiggle our fingers together as we say rest in peace to James Corden's Late Late Show. That's right, it's finally over. We've survived the bubonic plague of bad television. James Corden's show is off the air officially, and I also love that now we have like some classified documents finally releasing that confirms what we all knew. That nobody fucking watched James Corden's show. It was a colossal flop. It was losing $20 million a year apparently before they finally decided to take it behind the barn and put it down for good, just execute it. There is nobody in the world that likes James Corden. I've said it for years now. He's like one of the only unifying things our planet has to offer. We all have our differences, but somewhere embedded deep in our DNA is this common ground of disliking James Corden. And for some reason, his shows existed for so fucking long now. It was always a mystery, and I thought maybe I was just boofing crazy pills and like he had huge fans, but clearly not. They were losing so much money on him, and now they finally decided to stop the bleeding. It's just such a breath of fresh air. Already the world looks more colorful and less gray now that the Late Late Show is dead and buried, just put 6 feet under in its coffin. No more carpool karaoke. I feel like the possibility for our species are limitless now. It's like in Gurren Lagann when humanity goes from living underground fucking cave-dwelling troglodytes to breaching into the surface world, and then they start evolving at a rapid rate. I feel like that's where we're at right now because carpool karaoke is no longer keeping us buried. You know, that was the single thing preventing us from reaching a Type 2 spacefaring civilization. It's so nice. Now let's get to the actual topic of today's video. Enough celebrating the end of the Late Late Show. I'm sure many of you have heard about this massive writers' strike that's going on right now, where the Writers Guild of America is protesting, so they've all stopped their work in the industry at the moment. There's a lot of reasons for it, but really the primary takeaways are they're not being fairly compensated for their work when it comes to streaming services. So right now they're paid a single fixed residual that aren't tied to viewer numbers and no additional payments that come through when the show shuffles between different streaming services. An example they give is one of the writers for Jane the Virgin is only receiving 1 to 2 cents for their residual checks, which is far from the norm or acceptable. And that's because streaming content has blown up recently, and for the industry itself, it's still pretty new. So they're not really getting the compensation that they should be, especially when compared to other aspects of the entertainment industry like normal movies or normal TV shows. So streaming is still in that weird gray area where they're getting face fucked when it comes to their compensation, and now they're protesting, looking for more appropriate compensation and fairer pay for it, which I think is totally reasonable. None of these shows happen without the writers. I understand the A-list actors and celebrities are always going to put asses in the seats and make swamp-ass thrones as people are glued to it for these characters, but those characters are written by these writers, and without them, they'd be fucking flat and worthless. The effect of writers on the actual medium is severely overlooked by just normal viewers, I feel. I've seen real brain rot takes on this from Twitter about how the writers aren't even important to the shows to begin with, which is mind-boggling that we've reached a point where there's a lot of viewers that are unable to wrap their head around the entire show they watch is constructed by these writers. Without them, it doesn't exist, it doesn't happen, and it doesn't work. So it's super weird that people are trying to belittle their role in the industry and downplay their importance, even going as far as to call this whole strike a bunch of mumbo-jumbo, hocus-pocus nonsense and that they're entitled. It's so fucked up. Like, for some reason now people are taking up arms in order to protect billionaires in their right to exploit writers like this. I think it's fucking stupid. Like, again, the writers make the shows happen. It's not like your favorite actors that are in these shows go in there and fucking improv every single one of their lines. That's just not how it works. So yeah, I do agree that the writers deserve better pay, especially because streaming has blown up so much, and yet the pay for writers hasn't grown with it. This sector has exploded, yet for some reason the writers have been left behind when it comes to their compensation. So I think the strike is totally within their right to do. I think it's a good thing. And if you don't believe me that it's a good thing, how about I just show you some of the proof that's in the pudding right now? Get ready, because I'm about to give you a fucking enema of good news. This writer's strike has already been huge W's across the board for anybody with eyes, because since they're striking, a lot of terrible shows have had to go on hiatus, had to go dark. That includes every late night talk show, baby. Every single fucking one of these late night parasites have had to go off air because, of course, they don't write their own material. They're not like real comedians anymore. They don't make fucking jokes on their own. It's all fed to them by these writers. And now that they're striking, they have nothing. Thus, they've had to stop the programs. So no Jimmy Kimmel, no Jimmy Fallon. We're getting everything fucking purged right now and on break, and it feels so good to not have to have YouTube inundated with fucking god-awful late show talk clips. Oh my god, it feels amazing. So there's already a huge W there, already seeing some great stuff from the writer's strike, some good results. But if you want the best possible news from the writer's strike, you know what else is severely affected? Big Mouth. The worst show ever produced by human beings is currently getting hammered because of this writer's strike. It is unable to continue production as of the moment, and we can only pray, have our fingers crossed, that they will just shut down the upcoming season and call it quits. Just put the kibosh on the entire series, because Big Mouth fucking sucks. Just close your eyes and envision this utopia with me. No James Corden Late Show. No Big Mouth. That is a serene existence. That would actually unlock the full potential of our brains. It'd be like taking that pill from Limitless. We would fucking invent teleportation technology the next day. Now, even better news, even if Big Mouth does unfortunately continue, if we're cursed for another season of Big Mouth, it's the final season. So there won't be any after that, which that's great news, but it's bittersweet because we could just not have that season air to begin with. So regardless, though, Big Mouth on the horizon is soon to be finished, kaput, which is fantastic. I also forgot one other big one that's currently going dark. Another stinker. Saturday Night Live! Saturday Night Live is also affected by the writer's strike, so they're unable to currently continue as is. So just a lot of good W's all around here. Now, there is more to the purpose behind the strike. It wasn't all for the compensation. There is another component to this that I think it's worth mentioning here. They're also wanting to regulate AI when it comes to the industry. AI is also exploding, and it is evolving at an unbelievably fast rate, which is of course a legitimate concern here. AI is already fucking wild. It is frightening how good it's gotten in such a short period of time, and it's still very primitive. It is still very early on in this technology, so it's only going to get better and more refined. So what the Writers Guild is looking for here is some regulation where the AI can't be trained off of their works would be protected, so that way the AI can't be building models based around their scripts, can't be like generating scripts of their own based on their work, and also they can't really be using AI to go through and change some of their work or undermine it and shit like that. It's just looking for some level of protection for the writers. It doesn't seem like they're trying to completely outlaw it, make it illegal when it comes to AI in the writing room, or forbid it entirely, because AI can be used as a good tool for writers as well. It's just looking for some level of like regulation or just some openness to discuss how they can utilize AI in different ways there. At least that's how I understand it. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like they're just trying to get rid of it entirely from the writing process. So yeah, overall, wishing the best for the writers here with the strike. From what I can tell, it doesn't seem like the powerful suits out there are really responding at all to it in any meaningful capacity at the moment. It seems like the attitude's kind of just rub some fucking dirt in it, get over it kind of thing. But I guess we'll see how that goes when their biggest programs start to feel the effects of the strike, because the WGA is huge. They do a lot of writing. So I guess we'll see how everything plays out, but just want to talk about it a little bit. That's it. So yep. There's always been one thing that I've believed to be true, and so far no one's been able to prove otherwise. It's that people that gloat about how kind they are the biggest assholes. I think it takes a very conceited douchebag to brag about how nice they are. And you know exactly what kind of people I'm talking about, the ones that can't shut the fuck up about every single good deed they do, no matter how trivial. Oh, well, actually, I'm a better person than you because, in fact, on my way to work today, I saw a lizard on the side of the road, and I pulled over my car, and I started petting the lizard, gentle pets, and fed it some grapes to help ease its anxiety. And then I put the lizard in my car, drove to work, and I gave it a loving household in my cubicle. No. I'm no saint, I just happen to be one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Those kind of people that just make everything good they do seem so fake and disingenuous, where it just seems like it's points on a scorecard to them and things to use in a conversation to make themselves feel superior to others. I just think that shit sucks, and there's no better example of this than Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres' whole career and brand image is centered around the idea that she is a kind person. And I've never believed that. I've seen plenty of clips where she's just a passive-aggressive asshole to her guest, and in fact just outright mean to a lot of guests she's had on in the past. For example, Mariah Carey forcing her to admit that she's pregnant on her show by coercing her to drink champagne on her show so she can't hide the pregnancy.
Is that people are saying that that you're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
All right. Well, you don't have to answer.
No, that's okay. No, honestly,
you don't have to answer me. Let's just toast with champagne and decide.
But they've been saying that.
You want to taste it?
I can't believe you did this to me, Ellen.
What? No.
Are you trying
I'm
to
not going to ask you if you're pregnant or
This
not.
is
I'm
peer
just going to say.
pressure.
No. Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
My goodness.
You're pregnant. You're pregnant.
No,
you
I
are
didn't say
pregnant.
Mariah Carey had a miscarriage 3 weeks after this, and as you can see, Ellen DeGeneres' full kindness on display here by forcing her to tell everyone that she's pregnant through this little science experiment she set up here. This fucking little saw trap to try and get her to finally, once and for all, spill it and let everyone know that she's pregnant, even though it's none of Ellen DeGeneres' fucking business. But Ellen DeGeneres, being the narcissist she is, has to know everything and has to feel like she's the most superior person in the room. Why am I talking about Ellen DeGeneres? Well, I've never liked Ellen DeGeneres, not just because she's an asshole, but I think her show sucks. And over the last month or so, the internet's been ass-blasted with Ellen DeGeneres truth bombs about what it's like to work with Ellen and what it's like to even be near her. She treats everyone around her terribly, according to most people that have ever even encountered her by accident. Shit, from some of the things I read, if a kid with a broken arm found Ellen DeGeneres at a donut shop and asked for an autograph on the cash, she'd probably slap him and spit in their face. She just seems like a really terrible person to associate with, according to everyone that has had the misfortune of associating with her. And her workplace environment has been called toxic by everyone that's fucking worked there. And apparently it's filled with racism as well, according to a lot of the reports. So things aren't looking too great for Ellen DeGeneres' be kind image, when she seems to be one of the most not kind people in the space. I think talk shows suck. I've already talked about Wendy Williams' show and everything I dislike about that, and I thought it was only fair to talk about Ellen's show because it's just as bad, if not worse, because she parades around like she's some gift from God to bring salvation to this planet through her kind, generous acts. Which seems pretty far from the truth, and she's being investigated for these workplace environment claims as well as like other bullying things that are coming to light with all this. Keep in mind these are all just claims, but they're from current and former employees, and if she really is so incredibly kind, I can't imagine why everyone would have a coordinated effort to attack her and the environment. So they probably do have some weight, but again, it's not proven. It's not like the people that have worked on the Ellen DeGeneres set would go in there and it looks like some shit out of a horror movie where there's fucking bodies hanging from meat hooks and shit, mangled corpses everywhere because it's that evil. But it does seem like an absolutely terrible place to work with actual bad shit going on. But again, they are just claims at the moment. Even if all those claims turn out to be completely false, I still wouldn't like Ellen. I don't like her show. She'll publicly shame people in her audience. She's very rude a lot of times. And I don't get a smile on my face in the few times that I've tried watching the show. She's like a pioneer though, I will give her that. She basically invented shitty TikTok dancing comedy before TikTok existed. Half of Ellen's shtick that I can see, besides the fake being kind garbage, is that she does goofy dances, baby! And that's like supposed to be a big root of the ha-has in her show, which I'm just not really too big of a fan of. But all in all, it just seems like a terrible place to work according to employees and a terrible thing to be on according to guests. For example, a YouTuber named Nikki Tutorials went on Ellen's show, was very excited to go on the show, and then she went on another show later and insinuated she kind of fucking hated the Ellen show. She wasn't overly happy about the experience. And that kind of coincides with what a lot of the other guests have said as well from what I've read so far. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about all this because I talked about Wendy Williams and it only made sense to talk about Ellen DeGeneres' show as well. So that's about it. If they do end up firing Ellen DeGeneres from her position on the show, I'm more than willing to step in and take up the mantle. We can totally rebrand that shit. I have a fucking whole closet full of unimaginable amounts of sex toys. We could bring celebrities on. We could slap each other with rubber vaginas. It could be a good old hoot and a holler, a real good time. So if you're watching Warner Brothers, at least consider it. That's about it. See ya. There was something oh, Gunner. I saw Gunner posted a new video. I didn't see what it was on, though. The Addison Rae train wreck reality show. Addison Rae Goes Home. I don't remember. Is that the one that's like a bunch of influencers in a house or some shit?
TikTok star who broke the mainstream and now has her very own terrible reality TV show on Snapchat. Because who doesn't love watching TV vertically, where for every 10 seconds of show, you get 15 seconds of ads? What a deal. On the upside, it makes it easier for teens to go back and forth. She was in an awful movie last year. She's been making music. She's in commercials.
Wait, I love awful influencer movies. What was that one? He's All That, I think?
She was in an awful...
He's All That. Addison Rae and... Who the fuck is Tanner Buchanan? This looks like Jay Schlatt when he uses that attractive man filter. Is this a real human being or like an android? Has anyone seen this? Thanks to Gift Sub Speed Razor and the resub Agate Rock and Rex. Thank you for that. We're watching some goofy shit. Let's see what this is. I'll probably watch this. I love these awful movies. I really do. He's All That is an American 2021 romantic teen comedy film directed by Mark Waters. We got any Mark Waters fans in here? What's he made? Mark Waters is the genius behind such bangers like Magic Camp, Bad Santa 2, I know that one, Vampire Academy, and Mr. Popper's Penguinz. Oh, and Sorry Haters and Mean Girls. And Freaky Friday. Whoa! And Freaky Friday. Wait just a minute.
Just look at that cover picture. Of course, she's on her phone, probably making a TikTok. Sorry, working. Looking an awful lot more southern than usual. Laying on a pile of hay or grass or just general debris. Addison Rae returns to her roots in Louisiana.
That is a cool picture.
It's brought me a lot of love, but with that comes a lot of hate.
Oof.
He's talking about us.
Now, I'll be going back home to Louisiana for a week with my mom, dad. I wonder if it'll be like it used to.
It's a single.
What a weird premise. What? What? Well, now that I'm super rich and famous, I have to wonder, will I be able to mingle with the plebeians again, or am I just too far above them to comprehend that kind of poor nature? I'll have to find out by experimenting in the swamp. What is the idea of this show? Isn't she like 20 years old and she's only been doing TikTok for like a year and a half, 2 years or something? Why wouldn't she fit in all of a sudden? If she doesn't fit in, it's because she's the fucking problem.
Still nervous to see my friends and family who knew me before everything. I just hope they remember I'm the same person they've always known.
What
It's
are you?
giving Hannah Montana movie. I've only seen the show, but big facts. The premise of
It's like she's fucking Jekyll and Hyde or like Bruce Wayne and Batman. My parents or my family knew me before I became TikTok famous. Now they won't even recognize me. I've undergone a metamorphosis into a beautiful butterfly of clout.
Growing up, my family and I ate a shit ton of crawfish.
So
Oh,
the idea of the
on
series is
Snapchat
to
saying shit?
humanize
That's kinda
Addison
big.
Rae, her
How did you like handle that public breakup? Like, what did you do to like, okay, I'm okay, everything's gonna be fine.
What a normal
like,
conversation.
not falling apart. Has like being in that public relationship before changed your opinion on like when you want to pursue a new relationship?
Man, what are you, like a spy or
This
something?
isn't how friends ask questions. I will now rephrase that question into how Addison Rae's 21-year-old friend would actually ask it.
Oh man, he's method acting. He's going in.
So do you and Bryce still fuck? End scene. Thank you.
Damn, this guy's good.
Thank you. Good night. I was just dancing in my room and now I use $100 bills as napkins. Feels weird and scary. Am I being provocative again? Absolutely. I just think narrated slow-mo shots of you looking introspective might be the worst way to come off relatable. But that's what this show is all about, right? Addison appearing to be relatable. So
What is this? Can you look at like Snapchat numbers? I'm curious. Do people actually watch this and enjoy it? What was this called again? Addison Rae Going Ghost? Oh, you can like individually subscribe to shows on Snapchat. So her show has 497,000 subscribers. Is there like reviews? Well, there it has to be because he brought one up. Because I don't even understand who this is supposed to appeal to. Because let's say I'm an 8-year-old girl. I'm a big Addison Rae fan. Why the fuck am I gonna watch her just go home? What is there for like? I'm there to just watch her do TikTok trendy dances. Why the fuck do I care if she goes home? Kids don't care, man. I guess, but I remember when I was a kid, I still like watched things where like things happen. This is, granted, we've only seen clips here. This is literally nothing happening. It's slow-mo shots and then I guess an interview. Do people not review these things? Because I can't find shit. I did. I even typed in just general review to see what critics are saying, but no one's even mentioning it. Closest thing I found is this guy who wrote an article with a quote from her saying, "A lot of people say I dropped out of school for TikTok, and I don't think I dropped out of school for TikTok. It was because I knew that this was a career path that I've always wanted to pursue, kind of. in the entertainment industry. But you were literally saying right there that you dropped out for TikTok. People are confused by that, and they think I dropped out because of the app. But it was really to focus on pursuing my career in the entertainment industry and moving out here too. On TikTok. You dropped out for TikTok. It was your entertainment industry. I don't know why she's like embarrassed of it. Just like embrace it. She's made a very successful career out of it, and I can't find any reviews, so I'm just going to assume everyone loves it.
Gussie, one of my best friends growing up and still today.
I'm sorry. Gussie? Her name's Gussie? I'm
No,
not
it's a
5%
nickname.
Sure you made that up to make her look more grounded in Louisiana. You see, I actually looked up the number of babies named Gussie over the years. On this chart, notice how it kind of stops in 1952. I guess one slipped through the cracks.
Regardless of everything that's happened in the past, got me. It's so rare to find a friendship like we have. That's what I feel like I've been struggling with.
Why are they both wearing
It's
cowboy
really hard
hats
to talk to and, like,
in the rain?
Be able to feel like not judged. Even people that I know
On a
right now,
picnic.
Like, it's hard to find people to trust, like truly, because a lot of people don't have your best interest or like will use things against you. Like my vulnerability and like kindness has been taken advantage of so many times in LA.
My sister in Christ, let her speak. Your best friend so far has said,
We were definitely the girls at school that were a little bit different.
Thanks for some Darren
we
and
like, did
Toad.
photo shoots together and liked the same type of music.
we were definitely the weird girls in school. We took pictures, we liked music, we were the outcasts of society. Where'd you go to school, Addison? Rikers? You just named the most basic bitch shit and claimed it as personality. Sometimes on the weekend, we would go to the mall and get Chick-fil-A
That is
with
pretty
waffle
wild.
fries. We were crazy. I thought you were trying to make
Loose
relatable in this
cannons.
series. You're losing me.
We used to literally do photo shoots every day.
That is pretty
It was
unique.
so random, and they were cool. Remember we like dreamt about LA forever. Since eighth
What are
grade.
these conversations?
How can we get there now?
Well, you can always come whenever you want. Just let me know your dates and I'll write you in the calendar.
Ugh, remember when we dreamed of living in LA and now I'm there and you're still here? I'll calendar you in though, and we'll review it, and someone will reach out.
That's the
and
way to
let
do
me
it.
know if maybe I'm free. Oh my god, actually we could use
Gussie's
another
following isn't
writing
big
assistant
enough.
for my TikToks.
They won't allow her in
Oh my
California.
god, you could graduate high school, get famous, move from home, and your parents come with you to ride off your success. I don't entirely blame them. They saw she was making money. Your parents come
Wait, what
with
is-
you
what
to
is
ride off
Mom
your
doing over-
success. I don't
Jesus
entirely
Christ.
blame them. They saw she was making
fucking
money.
busting it wide
That
open.
even suck one. We're coming for the Hollywood Hills. Brother Enzo Lopez joined season 7 cast of Chicken Girls. Thanks, Just Jared Jr., for pummeling into this kid that he's only known as Addison Rae's brother.
So after
God, isn't that the fucking worst? I see that shit all the time for like those celebrity siblings. Where the fuck is that headline? There it is. They do that for like everyone. Oh, there was one I just read. And no, not E-Rob, Tyler's brother. What the fuck was it? Oh my god. Hold on, this is gonna make me really upset. Not the Hemsworth. You guys know there is a third Hemsworth brother though? There's Liam, Chris, and then one other guy. I don't know his name.
Be sure to subscribe
Exhibit
and turn
zombie.
post notifications on, as well as follow me on Instagram at Gunnar Klein. I heard that account is giving off major Sagittarius vibes these days. And consider becoming a member on Patreon so you can
Thanks
help
to Prime
fund my
Jacks.
reality TV show, Gunnar Goes to Vegas. That's another joke. I prefer Miami. With that said, good day, y'all.
Whoa, what the
Someone please go
fuck?
check on Gussie now.
Nobody prefers Miami. Jesus. Man sleeps with his socks on and prefers Miami? I mean, I guess Miami is better than, like, hell, I suppose. Maybe. I don't know. That'd even be a tight race. That was another banger, though, from Gunnar. Wendy Williams is a talk show host that I've disliked for over a decade. Her show is the kind of show you'd watch a 30-second clip of and immediately ask yourself, who the fuck is watching this and how does she have an audience? Wendy Williams is addicted to two things: cocaine and being an insufferable asshole. She has this incredible ability to take anything in the news and give you the worst possible opinion on it. It's a fucking scientific anomaly how she's able to do this. She can't even accidentally say something respectful. Like when Jennifer Lawrence's nudes were hacked and leaked on the internet, she insulted Jennifer Lawrence for it, you know, the classic victim blaming thing of, well, if you didn't want your nudes to be hacked, you shouldn't have taken them. I've seen them 1,000 times. Clap if you've seen Jennifer Lawrence's nudes. Is super scummy, disrespectful shit. We should all be thankful, though, that Wendy Williams' nudes haven't leaked, because that would have everyone canceling their internet subscriptions ASAP. But the worst part isn't just how terrible she is as a person and the awful things she's done. It's the fact that people go to her for advice. That's like going to Charles Manson for advice. For example, one lady went on her show saying that her husband doesn't want another child, but she wants another child. What should she do? Wendy Williams tells her that she should trick her husband by stopping birth control without telling him. That was her advice. It's fucking crazy. what she does and what she says and the kind of negative impact she has on everyone around her. Gus Johnson recently made a video about Wendy Williams where he goes into detail on certain things, and keep in mind this is not even a quarter of the awful shit she's done. I highly recommend you check out Gus Johnson and Pay Money Wubby talk about Wendy Williams and joke about some of this. I'm not going to cover any of those. What I want to talk about and why I'm bringing it up now is because she's pulled a classic Wendy Williams by insulting a woman who was recently killed by a stalker. So I'll give you some background before I play the clip. Amy Harwick, famous Hollywood sex therapist, was recently murdered by a stalker when she was pushed from a balcony and fell to her death. She was also the ex-fiancée of Drew Carey, host of Price is Right, and in Wendy Williams' most recent segment, she makes a joke about her murder, but it can't even really be called a joke because it's more just her insulting Amy's death and Drew Carey. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I'll play the clip.
She was killed not by Drew, but by the ex. Come on down. Why are you putting allegedly? This story's everywhere. All right, lawyer lady, she threw allegedly in there.
A real gut buster there, Wendy. Yahoo! What a side splitter. The audience reaction really says it all. Utter silence and groans of disappointment. But then the audience is so fucking stupid they go right back to applauding once she talks about allegedly being thrown in there. I don't know. The audience at Wendy Williams shows are just as bad as she is. They're so fucking stupid. I can't stand the audience. These people clap for cheating. They clap when Wendy Williams insults Terry Crews for coming forward about sexual assault. I mean, the audience sucks just as much as Wendy Williams does. But this one, even they couldn't mindlessly clap for a second, which is incredible. I've never seen that before on this fucking awful television show. I just really don't even get how it could have even been misconstrued as a joke, because there's nothing in there that seems like it was supposed to be comedic. It just seems like it was supposed to be mean and remind Drew Carey that his wife was murdered. It doesn't even make sense. Come on down is an iconic line from Price is Right, and I guess her joke was she fell to her death. Come on down. Wow, Wendy. That's really something special you've got there. You sick fuck. She looks like she died 10 years ago, but is being kept alive through some forbidden spell. Her eyes seem lifeless. They're fucking blasted wide open every second she's on TV. Her nose looks caved in like a goddamn skeleton. I don't understand how Wendy Williams can even think for a moment she has room to make jokes about anyone's appearance, their personal choices, or anything at all for that matter. She is an awful person, top to bottom, inside and out, and I can't fucking stand Wendy Williams. Wendy has only ever done one thing in her entire career that wasn't incredibly terrible. It was when she blasted a creamy fart into her panties on her television show.
Room thing. That cop wasn't playing that. I mean, you're lucky you only got battery.
This is the only good thing you've ever done in your entire existence, Wendy, and it was by total accident, which I guess is poetic. You can't even purposely do something almost remotely positive. Your asshole stepped in and did something nice for your shitty career. It's incredible, though. She is actually the first talk show host I'm aware of that has soiled their panties on stage, just caked in a wet mess. So I guess there's history to be made there for you, Wendy. This is your legacy. You're the first talk show host to shit themselves on TV. And that really should be your legacy. That's about all the good you've ever done, and likely ever will do, because you don't have even the most basic amount of empathy or decency. You're a terrible person and a terrible talk show host that is an awful influence on everyone that comes in contact with you. That's about it. See ya. Woo-wee. So I've heard a lot of negative things about a new HBO Max show. Or, excuse me, pardon, not HBO Max, Max. I don't want to be thrown in jail for using the wrong nomenclature there. I heard a lot of buzz about this new Max show called The Idol being a super stinker. The show's got like a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes and low scores across the board from pretty much anyone with eyeballs. And to me, it just didn't seem like an entertainingly bad show. I watched the trailer and it just looked like a snooze fest, and then I looked at the official poster and it just looks like the woman's wearing an actual orange rind for a dress. It looks CGI'd, so I thought the main complaint was going to be that it's low budget or poorly put together, but apparently that's not the case. So I read a few of the reviews, and I watched a few reviews as well, and everything people were talking about actually did make it sound fun bad. So I decided to do what I love to do. I dove into the septic tank, fucking cannonballed into the deep end in order to swim around in the sewage, just to see if it was fun bad. And now Ace Reporter Charles is here on the front lines to give you the verdict after watching 2 episodes. It's sometimes fun bad, but mostly just bad. The reviews led me to believe that there was a menu here that was serving something entertaining. So I came into the restaurant and I ordered the poop, but I got served the pee. There is occasionally moments where I get what I was hoping to order, which is entertainingly bad moments and content, but 9 times out of 10, what I'm getting with the show, at least through the first 2 episodes, is just a big fucking plate of nothing. It's just boredom, empty calories. I'm going to get into it deeply here in just a moment, but just to give you a little context for the production, it was apparently already plagued by controversy before the first episode even aired. There was a lot of behind-the-scenes drama and a lot of like really turbulent changes and a lot of shit going on. So a lot of people already wrote off the show and put it 6 feet under, put the tombstone on top of it before it even aired, just because of all of this drama that was happening behind the scenes. They thought there was no way that it would actually come out and be decent. But I'm not here to really talk about all of that stuff behind the scenes because I went into this show blind, not knowing any of it, and it's still bad. So let's dive in. Episode 1. Now, this is where I'm immediately talking about the show just being like eating fucking styrofoam where you get nothing out of it for a long time. For the first 40 minutes, unless you're really just like, auga, titties, there's not a whole lot of like interesting things happening. Now, I mention boobies here because within the first 5 minutes, they're immediately going into just showing you tits, and it even becomes a plot point. A plot point that they kind of harp on for a good chunk of screen time, actually, where the main character Jocelyn's doing a photo shoot, and then she just, derobes herself to show full bare breasts, and she just wants to let those honkers go bonkers, but there's an intimacy coordinator on set who's telling her she can't do that because it hasn't been approved by the intimacy board, the executive branch of booby coordinators, and they get mad at him for it, for trying to put the kibosh on that because she wants to just let it all hang out. And he's saying, no, we really need approval. It's how these things go. And he's just doing his job. And he's being framed as a villain here. Like, the main character, Jocelyn's getting mad at him. Her staff is getting mad at him. Eventually, they just try and, like, scheme on how to get him out of the equation. So they lock him in a bathroom. So I just found that pretty interesting that its first major plot point, I suppose, is just titties. Like just underlined titties. How are we going to get people hooked on our show? Obviously, the tried and true method. We're going fucking caveman brain. Show them the milkers. And that's the whole first part there, really. Like, that's actually the first instance of conflict or anything, really, exposition, which was an interesting idea, an interesting call to make. But yeah, like I said, if you're not just going into this for softcore porn reasons and, like, your eyes popping out of your sockets like a cartoon character when you see titties, I just really don't think there's a whole lot to get invested in within the first 40 minutes of episode 1. Now, to quickly blast you here with the cliff notes, episode 1 focuses mainly on our main character Jocelyn, who is a massive pop star, but has recently fallen on hard times due to some tragic events that have happened in her life. She's had some very tragic things happen, like the loss of her mother, and they keep mentioning that she had a psychotic breakdown at one point. And 2, she just recently had one of her pictures leak. And it's not a picture that you'd necessarily be hanging on your refrigerator. It's not exactly a good photo. It's a picture with cum on her face. So she got glazed, and the picture surfaced online through a leak, and it became the #1 talked about thing in the world, so people are making fun of her, and everyone's talking about, Jocelyn, the mega pop star, all cummy-faced now. So now she's tackling that stress on top of the stress she's already experiencing through everything she's been through. And she now has a single coming out for the first time in a year, and she's not super proud of it. Everyone's encouraging her that it's an amazing song, but she herself is a little on the fence about the real quality of it. That's kind of the first half in a nutshell. They were also playing a little game of keep away with Jocelyn's phone, so that way she wouldn't see the cum face picture and find out that it leaked and she's been trending online all day. And eventually she does find out. They do tell her, and she takes it like a champ. She says, it could be worse. And she's not wrong. It could have been worse. That could have been like a full-blown goatsy situation, right? So she takes it on the chin, and then right after that decides that she wants to go to a club. So her and her friends go to a club where she meets The Weeknd, Tedros. So Tedros is the owner of the club that she attends, and as he's, playing music, he calls her out. He's like, holy shit, that's Jocelyn! We've got to dance. So they dance, and then immediately fall in love, basically. They start grinding, they go to a stairwell where they're about to do a little canoodling, but then one of Jocelyn's friends, who's also her assistant, it kind of kills the mood, but they still got close. They exchanged contact information like it was a goddamn car accident, and they go their separate ways. The following night, Jocelyn is talking to her best friend / assistant, and says that she wants to bring Tedros over, and so she does. And now finally, after 45 grueling minutes, we get to the part where it gets fun bad, entertainingly stinky. We spent 45 minutes on the fucking Oregon Trail here going through all kinds of, unpleasantries, and now we're finally to a point where we can put a smile on our face. Before going into it, I would like to say that I'm actually surprised now, after watching the first 45 minutes, at how low the ratings are for it. Even though I found it uninteresting, I didn't find it to be like the most horrible show ever, like a lot of the reviews would have you believe. The cinematography is actually pretty good. It's shot well. Like, the show is well made. The biggest problem with the show is that it's uninteresting, and it's focusing on the worst parts of its narrative. It's focusing on the most unlikable parts of what the show is crafting. So it's putting all of the focus in the wrong areas, which I imagine most people are just tuning out for. So they just don't have any investment in it, and it makes it hard to actually care about what's going on. But as a show, I don't even think it's that horrible, like as bad as the reviews are making it seem. It's just fucking boring. That's by far its biggest sin for the first 45 minutes. But now, we get to Tedros coming into the equation. So he shows up to her house, and I can't show you the clip, but I will show you a screenshot. Tedros walks up to this house like he's the goddamn Terminator. Look at the atmosphere here. It's like a scene out of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like, this shit is like when SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs went to the cemetery to get the #1 drink hat. Like, it is haunting. I don't know why he shows up like this. He's got a fucking trench coat on. He's like an assassin out of John Wick. Like, it is wild that he rolls up like this. And he goes into the house, too, with this same energy. Now, I had to take that picture with my phone because on Netflix you can't do like a screen cap, or at least I don't know how. I'm too fucking stupid, I guess. But basically, the doors swing open, and they're really like squeaky doors, like something out of a horror movie. And he's like the fucking Undertaker. He just like slowly walks up, and he continues that persona, like this haunting presence, even once he gets to the house. It is so weird. So much so that the assistant, Jocelyn's assistant, is like, oh, this guy's got weird vibes. So she's clearly like a little perturbed by it as well. And he just keeps it going. It's like a 5 or 6 minute scene of him rolling up and going into the house where he's like creepily playing the piano while looking at Jocelyn's assistant like dead in the eyes, staring a hole through her fucking soul. And then he pours himself a drink, and then he's like checking his teeth in the mirror, licking himself, playing around with his trench coat, and then he starts sniffing her pillows, just actually taking a huge huff of the fumes from her pillows. It's so goofy, like beautifully goofy. Now, while he's doing all of this, Jocelyn's getting ready because she's very excited to have sex with him. And then she goes, meets him, and then wants to show Tedros her song. She wants an honest opinion and says that he's enough of an asshole to be honest with her. So she plays the song for him, and he says he likes it, but he doesn't believe her. To which she's like, what do you mean? That doesn't make sense. What do you mean you don't believe me? He says he doesn't believe that she knows how to fuck. So we're getting very 50 Shades of Grey here. That gave me the same tingles as the 50 Shades of Grey movie when Christian says, I don't make love, I fuck. It's so skin-crawlingly cringe. So he's like, I don't believe you know how to fuck. And she's like, I know how to fuck. And then he like takes her robe off, and I shit you not, wraps the robe around her head and then ties it around her neck. So it's like a manhunt fatality. So he's got the robe over like a paper bag that he's trying to like strangle her with, basically. And then he gets out a knife and he's like, don't panic, I know you heard the knife. And then he's like, open your mouth. And then he cuts a hole for her mouth so she can breathe. It's so fucking silly. And then the episode concludes with, after cutting the hole in the mouth, he says, now you can sing. It's super silly, and I neglected to mention a very important point with an ice cube that happens right before Tedros puts the robe over her head like he's about to waterboard her. He takes an ice cube, and he like runs it down her leg and onto her like pussy and all that. And that ice cube is actually a major supporting character, believe it or not. Well, not like that single ice cube, it melted, God rest its soul, rest in peace. But ice cubes in general, because she became so inspired by that sexual experience in the ice cubes that it kind of become her vessel to tap into her more creative side. So the single she's releasing is about sex. Like, it's about being a freak, getting real grimy. And when he said that he didn't believe her in the song because her vocals didn't convey that she knew how to be a freak and have sex, the ice cube brings out that freak side of her, I guess. In the next episode, she does a remix of that song because she said, you know what, the previous one wasn't me, this one's more me, and she plays it for her whole team to get their opinions. And the song just actually sounds like porn. Like, the entire intro is just moaning and deep breathing and shit like that. It sounds like you just walked in on somebody in the masturbatorium going crazy. So her staff wasn't super thrilled because it just sounds like they're listening to porn. And she gets so upset that she goes back to try and remix it. And in order to get back in the zone of being a sexual expert, she has a glass of ice cubes nearby that she keeps taking from and rubbing on her vagina and then like squeezing at her neck in order to get back into that moaning sexual zone, which I thought was so silly. Like that made me giggle a lot. So this is when the show's at its best in terms of like entertainingly fun bad shit. Like having to kegel some ice cubes in order to do enough deep breathing on your track in order for it to sound sexually stimulating enough. What a brilliant idea. Now, episode 2 reveals like the deeper plot elements here. Tedros was already kind of framed as someone who's probably going to be a bit shady in the grand scheme of things, and episode 2 drives it home. It turns out Tedros has a label of his own, and pretty much everyone from that club is in on it, and it seems, it's leading audience to believe that Tedros is getting close to Jocelyn for his own selfish gain as well as the gain of his label. So big plot twist moment was one of Jocelyn's dancers, whom is also one of her friends, is part of Tedros's friend group. And they actively fuck, and this whole thing was actually a setup. So that's episode 2. Tedros gets even closer to Jocelyn and eventually floats the idea of moving into her house, which she's all on board with. Meanwhile, Jocelyn's best friend is getting a little fishy once she learns that Tedros owns this label. She's starting to connect dots that this might not exactly be the most trustworthy person. Now, that's all of the plot shit. It kind of interesting, I will say. Like, I think that's an interesting narrative play. However, once again, I think they just focus on the most boring parts in the episode. But this one had a lot of fun bad moments, at least sporadically placed throughout. It feels like this show wants to be 50 Shades of Grey, like great value version, like diet 50 Shades of Grey. So it has these really weird moments, like genuinely just like baffling moments where Tedros and Jocelyn are about to fuck. And she's like, put that bathrobe over me again, or put the robe over my face again. So he like blindfolds her with the bathrobe thing. And then she starts like getting ready to fuck, but then Tedros goes behind a chair and he just starts instructing her like a drill sergeant. And it goes on for like 3 or 4 minutes, probably more than that, probably closer to like 5 or 6 minutes of him just giving her orders for things to do. So he's like, show me those titties, and I'll move the titties around. And then I shit you not, he even says, imagine my cock in your throat, and now you're choking on it, and now you're spreading your little pussy. It's so weird. So the weekend, Tedros keeps saying these things to her, and she's like mimicking it in front of him like it's a stage play. And it just goes on for so long. And then one of his friends that he brought over is watching in the mirror, and she starts doing the same thing. So Tedros is like a fucking sexual savant shaman. Like, he's like fucking mind controlling women around him just by existing. So yeah, that's some good goofy fun bad shit. There's also a scene where like Tedros is instructing one of his friends how to fuck. So he has like a shock collar on his dick, and he's like, "All right, now you need to look like you're ready to fuck that girl." And he's like, "No, not good enough." Shocks him. He's like, "Ah!" Like, he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll get more into it." And he's like, "No, not good enough." And then says, "Remember, you're not a human, you're a star." And then fucking shocks his wiener again. So the episode gets fucking crazy. Like, it's going hog wild here. But it's all on the stuff that I don't think most people would care about here. Like, the softcore porn elements of it. I guess it's not even really softcore porn. It's just like straight up porn where they don't show you most of it. Actually, which is pretty much softcore. Yeah, it's just like all focused on like the sexual parts of it as opposed to the actual interesting narrative bits. Like the whole setup plan, as well as Jocelyn's friend who is now getting in a position where the label's losing trust in Jocelyn, but her friend, who is the dancer, can also sing. And it's looking like they're going to replace Jocelyn with her. And she is the one that's part of Tedros' friend group, so that will benefit Tedros and all of them. Like, there are interesting elements at play, but they don't actually get the spotlight. It's all on the, make your titties bounce for me. Yeah. Good titties bouncing. Good shit. And then spanking her ass and like jiggling her butt cheeks. Like, that's not very interesting. That's laughable. Now, there is another section of this episode that I actually thought was very interesting. It's Jocelyn's music video. She's doing a music video for the song, and it's not going well, which is why they're about to replace her with her friend. She just keeps doing the choreography over and over and over again, forcing them to restart. They're many hours over time, way out of schedule, because Jocelyn needs it to be perfect. She's still overcome with grief over the loss of her mother. This is the first music video she's done without her mother being there. And she's breaking down, she's crying, and she's going over the moves so many times that her legs are getting bloody, so they have to keep like fixing that with makeup. And it's actually conveyed in a pretty interesting way. The cinematography is good. Like, it is actually good. And then eventually she gets the perfect take. Everything was like fantastic, exactly what she wanted, but the camera was out of focus. So she had to do it again. And she didn't get it perfectly the 50th time around. So, like, it's actually a very interesting scene. Her staff coming in to try and lift her up, it's not working well. Her staff, you also start to wonder, do they even really care about Jocelyn, or are they just there because it benefits them? Like, all of that's actually kind of interesting, but it is not what the show seems to want to focus on, which I think is such a fucking misfire, and probably why so many people don't actually like the show. Because I don't think many people care to see softcore porn. Like, you just type boobies in on Google and you'll get a million fucking OnlyFans links, right? Like, you're probably not tuning into this to get porn. At least I don't think most people would be. But yeah, once again, the episode does end up being overwhelmingly boring for the most part and uninteresting. Because again, it is focusing on like the worst parts of what the show's offering. But yeah. Oh, another thing. The characters feel really stiff a lot in this episode, even more so than episode 1. Some of these characters that come in here feel like actually phoned in performances. They didn't really care that much, which is kind of odd. I mean, especially for a show of this budget and this prestige. I mean, it's a fucking HBO Max show. So I would think that they'd really make sure all of the acting is fantastic, but there's a lot of times in here where I was like, damn, that just really didn't seem like they cared at all about this whole scene. But anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. It's only 2 episodes. Maybe it really gets better. You know, it really finds its footing in episode 3. I couldn't tell you, but I just wanted to at least give you all an update since I did watch it. And overall, I do think it was a waste of time. Like, I don't think the fun bad moments outweighed the overwhelming boredom or disinterest I had in the show. There's just very few fun, shitty moments that are sprinkled throughout the 2 episodes, and that just really wasn't worth it. So, yeah, that's really about it. See ya.